Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the THF Extra Point Podcast, the season finale. Super Bowl is over, my friends.
It's hangover season.
I don't know what to do with my life now. Football's over.
Oh my God, I'm telling you. Yeah, you got it. We were just talking about it backstage. You better get into basketball and hockey. Yeah. That's this is the dead week, right? Like it's like, or is it the Monday after football where there's like nothing, or Monday after the Super Bowl is considered like the deadest day in sports or something like that? Do they still do that? And that used to be a thing. Nobody knows what I'm talking about.
No, I'm not sure.
No, I don't know. The thought of that there is a day like that, yeah, but I don't know if it's the day after the Super Bowl. I do feel like there's a day that is nothing. I don't know.
I was thinking that was the thing, but maybe I'm mistaken. I should have done my homework.
What do you guys think of the discussion to? I mean, I feel like it comes up every year, but someone's always saying, "Oh, the Super Bowl should be a holiday." But I think the discussion now is that just push the whole NFL season back 1 week, so that way the Super Bowl falls on President's Day weekend, and you get the Monday off. From most people have the Monday off from work, unless you're like me.
Honestly, we were talking about that in the Discord. Like, I'm 100% on board with that. Like, you guys saw the picture of me kind of assed out after the game in the Discord. Yeah, it was Monday. If I'd have had to go to work Monday, that'd have been a very, very rough day. I'm all in on finding a way for the Monday after the Super Bowl to be a holiday, and if that means they move some stuff around to where it falls on President's Day, that I'm down. It doesn't bother it, like I don't work on Mondays anyway, but if I had, oh man, that'd have been rough. That would have been rough.
Yeah, unfortunately, I work all day, every day, pretty much. No.
Well, I mean, I own my own business that's open 7 days a week, so I worked, but I didn't work. But it was a rough day. That's why I didn't go live. I didn't have my normal Monday afternoon stream. I didn't stray too far from my bed.
I don't blame you. I would have loved to. I wish I had, but
I don't have to run down my list of beverages of the evening for you. I already did most of it backstage, but it was a lot. How about you guys? Did you get turned up for the Super Bowl? Party hard?
Nope.
Nothing?
nope.
No.
Nothing?
I had a couple buddies over, and we just hung out. Part of it was I had to work the next day, but I mean, I love football. But I was kind of disappointed with the matchup this year. I really liked the two teams that lost in the NFC Championship. I really liked the trajectory they were on. And I was hoping for a different Super Bowl. I might also be a little salty as the official, as a fan of the dynasty that just officially ended. The Patriots being the last team for 20 years to go back to back in 2003 and 2004 was kind of the last thing we were holding on to, and that's all gone now. So it's a new day and age. Although I do feel bad for the rest of the league who thought, wow, now that Tom Brady's gone, my team has a chance to win. Well,
Yeah, now there's
Patrick
Mahomes.
Mahomes says otherwise.
Next guy,
Mahomes is Brady 2.0 at this point, right?
pretty much.
Like, are we
Honestly,
ready? He's
kinda felt
definitely the
the
best
same.
quarterback in the league right now.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, I wasn't
Sure.
really too excited for the Super Bowl matchup, but after watching it, I mean, it wasn't bad. At the beginning, me and Jason were saying like, yeah, shit's kind of boring, but as it went on during the second half, I actually started enjoying it, and overtime was great. So it was a fun game overall.
That was the
Even-
worst first half, though. That
I
was
gotta-
terrible.
I got to give props to Brock Purdy just for getting there. Being, this is pretty much his first full season playing. So, props to him, whether or not he's playing on a busted team, for actually doing it. and competing against Mahomes. So, but yeah,
Yeah, I agree entirely, and I think this is the first real playoff game this season, or at least during this past playoff run, where the other team didn't lose the game. Like the 49ers, I mean, Kyle Shanahan made an absolutely stupid move in the last in overtime, and I have a hot take that they should move on from Shanahan. However, both teams played great. Nobody really made any major mistakes other than the coach. But the difference is with every other game, you can point out exactly what the other team did to lose, and I think it's just as simple this time around as that Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs simply won the game. They outplayed them, even though they were still playing excellent football. The Chiefs just did it better.
Now, it's interesting that you say that because where was Christian McCaffrey? I mean, like, how do you have the best running back in the league, and you barely are giving him the ball? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that Shanahan needing to go away from the 49ers is really that hot of a take. I think it's kind of crazy that they weren't able to do more. They stopped giving the ball to CMC. They made the blunder in the overtime. Like, I don't know how hot of a take that is. To be quite honest, I think a lot of people are.
It could be
scratching their
recency
heads.
bias because at the end of the day, he did get his team back to the Super Bowl. He made good decisions throughout the season, but at the same time, it's a monumental meltdown, and he's notorious for it. Whether he's the head coach or the OC, he's 0-3 in the Super Bowl, and in all 3 Super Bowls he's been in, his team has had at least a double-digit lead at one point in the game.
Yeah,
every
that's
single
3
time,
times.
and they've blown it. Granted, he's now lost to 2 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, so there is that aspect to it. However, it's still actually all three of them have. Who did he lose to the first time?
The Patriots.
He lost to Brady,
offensive,
and then he lost to
offensive
Mahomes twice,
coordinator
right?
for Atlanta.
He lost to Brady, and then he's lost to Mahomes twice.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so he's lost to
Damn it, Romo.
arguably the 2 best quarterbacks in history. But at the same time, they were their defense was dominant. The run game was doing really well. His play calling just fell off in the last quarter, and then they just checked out entirely in overtime. When you have your team, your players, your veteran, skilled, seasoned players admitting to the media, "Oh, we didn't know the rules were different." That's a fundamental failure, and that falls on coaching. That doesn't fall on the defense. That doesn't fall on the offense. That doesn't fall on the special teams. It falls on the coaching.
Yeah, for sure. I was a little surprised by that, but at the same time, I was like, well, I mean, do they? I guess they have to talk about it, and I'm sure. I feel like they probably did. I don't know. Shanahan made it sound like they did discuss it. They did have a game plan. It just really wasn't the right game plan. Is kind of the way it sounded to me. Like, hindsight's 2020. Like, we did have a game plan, but now that it's all said and done, obviously it was the wrong one. And I can kind of see. I saw his explanation, which was basically, and I'll paraphrase. He said we wanted the ball first, so that if they matched our score, we would be the ones with the ball third and the chance to go down and win it. And to me, that made sense. The math checks, right? But at the same time, you got to flip that, and you got to say, all right, well, they went down and scored a field goal. That gave all the cards to the Chiefs, because now they knew that they had to minimum score a field goal, but if they wanted to win, they needed a touchdown right then and there, and it changed the overtime completely, because they knew every set of downs they had an extra play, because they weren't going to punt. Period. They weren't going to punt.
It's the same notion of it's the Super Bowl and you're going against one of the greatest to ever do it. You cannot give Patrick Mahomes in this day and age in the Super Bowl 4 downs. You can't do it. Because at the end of the day, even it's not the same. They're not the same rules. It's different in the playoffs, and worrying about the third drive versus the first drive doesn't make any sense because that basically it goes back to we've talked about this all season with Detroit and Dan Campbell being reckless. He basically didn't put any faith in the defense. All he had to do was hold Mahomes to a field goal, which is very easy to do. Even if they score the touchdown, they don't win the game right there. The Niners get the ball back.
Right.
So
right.
best case scenario is they get a stop entirely. They get the punt. Worst case scenario is they have to go score a touchdown with a 2-point conversion. So this is another example of the nerds rooting things in the analytics department. It's a mixture of the analytics department and a poor coaching decision. But I think they should have focused more on the first drive versus the third drive.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I definitely agree. Even though I see his point of view going into it, hindsight it was definitely the wrong move, like 100%. So live and learn, right? I mean, but 0-3 is in the Super Bowl is not a good look.
And I think we also learned one big lesson, and that's never to consider the Chiefs the underdogs.
Yeah.
That's for real, because I really thought out of all seasons, this season, they did not look good at all. Like, they looked like they were going to lose first round of playoffs. That's what I thought was going to happen. That's what I picked. And they went and won the Super Bowl again. So just can't doubt the script.
Yeah, I mean, they played their best. They did not play great football during the season. It's the worst year in Patrick Mahomes' era.
Yeah.
And they played their best football in the playoffs, though. Somebody who is not a Chiefs fan but is married to one made a great point that even if the Chiefs lost the AFC Championship this year, a down year for the Chiefs is losing in the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
The fact that they go to the Super Bowl and win it, nobody expected them to do so. Realistically, it's a totally different teams, totally different day and age, totally different dynasty. I want to see how it fares in the next season. In particular, I want to see if the quarterbacks around the league stay healthier, so he has more competition. I want to see if the front office for the Chiefs loads up this offseason or pulls the Patriots and says, hey, if he can do it with these scrubs, why are we going to go spend money? I feel like it's going to be it's going to be one or the other. They're going to look at T. Higgins or Mike Evans and they're going to throw $1 gazillion at them, or they're going to say, just make do with what you have because we know you can do it.
Yeah,
and that's unfortunately what
they're
happened
going to do too.
The Patriots at the end of Tom Brady's tenure.
Yeah. The Patriots had a different system, and they it felt like they rolled it back with whoever they had every year. They got little pieces, stuck them in. Nothing was sexy. Nothing was real magical feeling, and they just managed to get it done every year. Do we think that Patrick Mahomes can do the same thing? I mean, obviously he proved that he could this year. But yeah, they're going to let go of Snead and spend that money on a good backup tight end or another way.
Don't get this dude started.
They definitely need some more hands. I think Kelsey's getting a little long in the tooth, although he stepped up when he needed to. I mean, say what you want about his girlfriend, I guess, but
he fucked me out of a parlay.
Kelsey got things done when he needed to in the playoffs. He pulled a Gronk. He pulled a Gronk. Gronk was, when Brady pulled Gronk to Tampa Bay, it seemed like Gronk was done. But he really showed up in the playoffs that year that they won another Super Bowl.
I think it's more comparable to 2018 Gronk, who had 2018 Gronk, who had a career bad season. It was his worst season as a starter, but he had his best playoff performance ever He just completely turned it around, turned it on in the playoffs. And it's the same with Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce was, and I know very intimately because I drafted him 3rd overall in one of my leagues. He was basically a non-factor all season. And in the playoffs, he turned it on and got the job done.
Yeah, it's crazy. Finished 17 yards going into the 4th quarter and finished with like 96. That's insane. That's insane. How about his little body check, Andy Reid? What do you guys think about that? Because that's been a big topic on
I think
socials.
everyone's overthinking it.
If it wasn't Kelsey, it would have been a bigger deal. But since he's a superstar, I don't think it's as big of a deal. You don't go up to your coach and like push him, which obviously I don't think he meant to like hurt him or anything or like push him over, but that's what happened. You know, you don't yell at your coach. It's not what you do. But since he's Kelsey, I mean, you can do it a little bit. But they made up afterwards, so it's not even a big deal. They were just like, yeah, whatever. You know.
You're right. If it was any other player, it probably would have been an issue. And I would argue if it was a couple other coaches, it would be an issue. But Andy Reid's not going to bench. He's not going to bench Travis Kelce over that.
Yeah.
You know, if it's Marquez Valdez-Scantling or if it's Kadarius Toney, then he's never seeing a football field again.
Right.
And I hate to say, this is crazy, but Bill Belichick bench players in the Super Bowl for less than that, and it cost them a couple. So, I think Kelce and Reid is a different story, but I also think people are reading into it too much. It's not that big a deal.
They're pushing toxic masculinity stories and all kinds of stuff.
It would be a bigger deal if they lost, because that first half was kind of a very uncharacteristic meltdown.
Yeah, they win all the time. And then you got Mahomes and him throwing tantrums to refs and coaches.
Yeah.
It's a different year for these guys. It was definitely it's almost like they kind of embraced that villain role, the we're the bad boys role, the underdogs, that aren't supposed, they embraced it a little bit too much. But I think ultimately, look, there's been a lot of players that have done a lot of similar things. Maybe not necessarily chest bump your coach, which, I saw it played a couple times, and it almost seemed like he went up to him and didn't mean to go into him, but it's just his momentum and his frustration carried. Like, I don't think he even meant to do that. I don't think he meant to chest bump him. He was upset, and he just let his frustration and his momentum carry him a little bit, that extra 3 inches to where he about damn near knocked him on his ass. But we've seen it. We've seen it from a lot of sports stars. Excuse me. We've seen it from a lot of sports stars, not just in football, but in other leagues as well. You get to that ultimate moment, and it's like you got so many emotions and so much built up, and we saw Tom Brady do it in Tampa Bay. He lost his cool in a couple games. We've seen lots of people throw helmets, yell at their man. There's an old clip of Troy Aikman doing it in one game, and man, he was lighting up everybody on the sideline, just crazy passion, bro. And you can call it losing your cool, you can call it disrespectful, but man, put yourself in these guys' shoes, and you have, like, unless you've been there, you have no idea the amount of energy and passion and adrenaline just coursing through your body on the highest stage of your lifetime. It didn't bother me one bit, especially knowing after the fact that they were both like, oh yeah, that's, we're good. Because at that point, it's nobody's business. It's fine. It wasn't that big of a deal, And if you're worried about what it sets as an example for the kids and whatever, be a better parent. If you think your kid's gonna see that and be a toxic asshole to his coach because Kelce did it, that's on you as a parent. Like, cry me a river. teach your kids with difference and right and wrong, and and a place for there's a place for everything. You know. I don't know. Get off my soapbox. It just bothers me that it's been made such a big deal.
I think his explanation after the game was just that. I think that was the worst part of the
I didn't even hear what he said.
Ordeal. He was like, he's trying to be the lovable goofball tight end that Gronk is, but he just comes across as stupid, like he's an idiot. I love Travis Kelce as a player. I can't fucking stand him.
Personally,
and I'm a Swiftie. I'm a big Swiftie, but he's like, oh, you guys saw that? Well, yeah. I'll keep that between us, but I was just telling him how much I love him. Like, dude, shut up. like, be honest, be truthful. Say, look, I'm a competitor. It was the heat of the moment. I got a little too animated, and then Mahomes jumped right in after and basically said that. It's like, okay, I get it. We all know it's not that big a deal, but you don't have to say something dumb and just completely brainless about it. Like, dude, you're an adult, you're a grown up. Get over yourself. I know you just won the Super Bowl, but come on.
Yeah. The Chiefs had a lot of haters this year. I was kind of surprised to see that, but the more that I read about, the haters' takes here and there, where I was like, okay, I can see it. All right. Like, I'm not changing my point of view. I was still rooting for them over 49ers. Like, until they get 5 Super Bowls, then I'm going to continue to root for the KC as my AFC team. But once they get 5, then they need to just stop. I don't want anybody getting 5, 6 before the Cowboys. And so I could never in a million years have rooted for San Francisco.
I mean, I'm still rooting for San Francisco. I like the Brock Purdy story, but
yeah, Mr. Irrelevant is still.
And I hate to say
irrelevant.
I really want Joe Burrow to have a comeback, and I want to see him back in the Super Bowl. It was nice to see Stafford win it, but I think it's going to get really boring really fast if Patrick Mahomes is just smoking his way to the Super Bowl every single year. I mean, we all know that.
Welcome to everybody outside of Boston.
Sorry, but the difference is, especially in the first half of the dynasty, it was Brady versus Manning, and there was an actual rivalry. It wasn't. You could argue there's a rivalry between him and Josh Allen, but Josh Allen's a bum. The Bills are falling apart.
Well, I mean, to be fair,
I think
Josh Allen is Peyton Manning right now. He's the guy that can't get past Mahomes. And eventually, what happened? Eventually, Manning got past Brady. So
I think Burrow is more likely to be the guy, and I think the discussion, the rivalry discussion is more entertaining with Burrow than it is with Allen. But we have to keep in mind there are a lot of great quarterbacks still. There are a lot of teams that are emerging. I do want to see the Bengals get it. Of course, I want the Patriots every year, but realistically, I want to see Joe Burrow get his shot at it again. I want to see C.J. Stroud make a run at it. Trevor Lawrence, I couldn't give a shit about. Aaron Rodgers, again, I don't want to wish harm on him, but I think it'd be hysterical if he plays 5 snaps and snaps the other Achilles. But
damn.
But no, I think
God hates the Jets, and so does Ray.
So true. But yeah,
true Belichick fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's interesting. All these quarterback stories, and I really hope we get to see some more of it. At the end of the day, I know Lamar Jackson fell apart, but I'd like to see him have a successful run. I just think I get everyone's point as me as a Patriots fan, but you gotta keep in mind what the Patriots did was completely different. It was a dynasty with a decade in the middle where nothing happened, and then a second dynasty. So the league is way different now than it was then. Never mind the first dynasty. I think I think it's harder now to have a dynasty than it was back then, and there's a lot of great talent that I want to see actually succeed for once, and not just shit down their leg. There's like a lot of these really successful quarterbacks, really successful teams did this year.
I mean, at the end of the day, there's 32 teams. Only 2 of them get to go to the big game, and only 1 of them gets to win it. So, yeah, there's a lot of competition out there, and you can't root for them all. You know, like they can't all take turns winning it. You know, like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, they gotta prove it. To be the best, you gotta beat the best, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I got no problems. Like I said this in the Discord before, and I'll say it again. Like I'll give you shit all day long for being a Patriots diehard and the dynasty. And when you make statements like this, like about like it's different, whatever. To me, it's the same thing. But you know what? I have to admit though is I didn't appreciate the Patriots dynasty when I should have, because it was pure greatness. And like I didn't appreciate it because I was kind of more of a Manning guy, so naturally I was a Brady hater. You know, the scandals and just the things that surrounded it. I refused up until he won with Tampa Bay to even acknowledge him as the GOAT. You know, and so I've realized that I didn't appreciate it the way that I should
Cope.
have, and yeah, so I'm appreciating what Kansas City is doing, because I would like to see I would like to see that MJ LeBron conversation, and until he wins like another one, he's just now reaching the conversation. He needs to win 1 or 2 more to even be on the same page, and the only reason he's going to be in that conversation is because he's going to do it in a shorter span. Maybe we'll see. It's yet to be written, but I don't think anybody here can say that he's not capable of doing it.
Now, what do you think of the cheating stuff, Ray?
I feel like we've had this conversation like 15 times in the Discord, and it's the same. It's the same spouting every time. You know, the numbers don't lie. Every single team is cheated. The notion that Tom Brady was the cheater and that he's the greatest cheater of all time. It's like if anybody was able to cheat so effectively where they just had a chokehold on the league for 22 years, then another player would have done it by now. Someone else would have done it by now. Another team, another administration, another X, Y, or Z. The argument that Tom Brady's not the greatest of all time, it's gonna keep until Patrick Mahomes beats every single metric over the course of the longevity that Tom Brady did it. It's kind of a pointless discussion right now. Yes, he's on pace to do better. Yes, the stats are very similar, but the difference between all of these statistics, regardless of the metric, is the longevity. 20 plus years. And look, Deflategate is the lowest hanging fruit one, and it's been scientifically disproven multiple times. Like, that's not a cope, that's a fact. You can look it up. It's right there. So, and the Patriot cope in me for that one is they could have been playing with a beach ball and would have beat the shit out of that team, because the other team was it wasn't even a close game. But
I was like, why cheat on that game? You know, out of all the games, why do you think? Because wasn't it just the Colts, and they're already up by a lot? Remember that playoff game a long time ago when the Deflategate was a thing?
Deflategate was because of the Super Bowl.
Hmm.
And go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say, but I remember that in the playoffs there was that huge deal about them with the deflated ball against the Colts.
That's what I remember. January.
Yeah, I thought it went back to it. I went back to that.
Oh, it was the AFC Championship. But
I was like, well, at that time, the Colts were really trash, and they were already, going to beat them by a lot. So that's why everyone's confused about it. They're like, if you're going to cheat, why do it on this game?
Andrew Luck was playing, right?
I don't remember,
I
honestly.
believe so. Yeah,
I would think that sounds about right.
It would have been Luck because it was Manning was earlier, 2000.
You're right. It was the 2015 AFC Championship game.
Okay, yeah. So it would have been Luck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I thought it all came out after the Super Bowl though, so that might be why you're thinking it was
right.
Had more to do with the Super Bowl.
Well, Super Bowl implication at least.
For sure. But again, that's kind of that's old news at this point. It's been disproven multiple times. You can keep pointing at it all you want. But again, the argument is the longevity. Patrick Mahomes is on a great pace for the first few seasons. He has to maintain it though. That's the hard part.
Yeah, like I said, I give Brady the title. Like he's the man. He's the guy. Totally 100% agree. And whether or not there may be some shade or some asterisks, or some discussion around the matter, that's never gonna stop. But I think pretty much everybody understands that with the longevity and the dominance over 22 year career or whatever it was, then yeah, it's quite obvious that it's going to be very hard for anybody to duplicate.
And my other argument, the difference between Brady and Mahomes is the majority of Patrick Mahomes' games, the majority of his success, they've led the entire game. Tom Brady had so many distinctive game-winning drives that where they're trailing going into the final few minutes. The defense holds up. The coaching decisions, know how to run the clock. And that's a very distinct difference. You can compare the stats all you want, but
but you could argue that, well, all right, well, that just means that he sucked and he made a comeback. He should have been ahead if he's so great. Patrick Mahomes never trailed because he's better.
Yeah, that's one aspect of it, but
I mean that's just point of view and perspective at that point.
No, I mean I get that, but at the end of the day, the great quarterbacks, we talk about the difference between good quarterbacks and great quarterbacks all the time, and Brady's not the only one to do this. Elevating
Mahomes
players
was down
on the field.
double digits to San Francisco both times.
Right.
You said that earlier.
And again, the two are comparable. Don't get me wrong, but again, Brady has done it. He did it so many times across so many years.
Atlanta doesn't count.
That Mahomes really has to maintain the pace. And again, we didn't even nobody ever actually outside of Boston considered Brady to be the greatest of all time until he surpassed Montana. So that's the bare minimum, is that Mahomes has to match him to even be to truly be considered if we're using the same logic we were using for Tom Brady.
In Super Bowls, because
Super Bowl rings.
Montana had 3, right?
He had 4.
He did have 4?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Hold on, let me.
I thought it was 3. I thought him and Aikman both had 3.
Aikman's a little bitch.
Fuck out of here.
Just kidding. Or I do like sure.
4 Super Bowls.
4? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. Yeah. Because up until Brady got 4, everybody said, well, he's not the greatest because there's Montana. So yeah, and he.
All right, so Brian, are you gonna hold Mahomes to the same standard then, given the discrepancies with the refereeing, the extremely measurable discrepancies, the percentages, the points against? Okay, all right. As long as we're staying consistent, that's fine.
Yes.
Because we're each gonna die on this hill as long as we're not switching hills, you know.
Yeah, we're not reading novels in the chat, just so you know. Save that for the Discord.
But
I
again,
feel
I'm
like
not.
if we had a call-in button, he'd be on that thing every week.
And that's why we don't.
This is and I'm not again. I've been harping the refs all season, but I think this was a pretty clean game. There were a handful of holding calls for the Chiefs that could have gone either way, but that just gets back to the discussion that there can be a penalty on every play. But
Yeah.
I think this was a definitive, distinctive win for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm admitting that, no problem. I really don't think it was on the refs this time.
No, and to be fair, if we want to talk, you want to talk about the refs, and I know there's that tinfoil. Don't bring out your tinfoil.
I haven't.
Yet.
I'm not bringing it out this episode. I was thinking
But
that. But
on.
Come on. Not the
you're
same
lucky I hit
thing.
my square. You're lucky I hit at least one square, because if not, it was coming out and it was targeting you.
I know you got your squares. You got your square win. The Chiefs were amongst, if not the most penalized team of the year. So I remember them saying that during one of the last couple weeks of the season. So they might have some controversy at the tail end of some of their games. Of course, we can all point to the offsides with Kadarius Toney. That freaking offensive offsides penalty is like never ever called, and that was a big controversy that went against the Chiefs. So, you know, it goes both ways. You know, back when the Patriots were dominant, a lot of people thought that they were getting favorable calls from the refs. You might not have heard that in Boston, but we heard it down here in Texas. When Green Bay would be dominant for a couple of years on end, Green Bay got all the calls. You know, Dallas, it was a catch. Okay, so you know, there's lots of that when you're the team that's getting all the attention. And right now, it's the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're getting all the intentions.
Dude, you guys lied. No, it wasn't a catch.
It was a catch,
No,
but
it wasn't a catch. That's,
I digress.
That's talk for later.
That's a whole nother show. Man, if we'd have been streaming back then, we'd be syndicated by now.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan, who
I think the discrepancies are so hyper focused now because of, you know, the accessibility of instant replay,
they're good at it now.
People are just compiling all these instances and putting them on social media. But I think the bigger thing that, and again, my take has been all season, it really has to do with sports betting. In the course of 5 or 6 years, pretty much across the nation, we went from gambling and sports betting in general as something that was taboo and you have to basically go outside of town and do under the cover of darkness, to now it is on your phone, in your pocket, instantly accessible any time of the day. And basically they're encouraging you to do it.
And a commercial every 10 minutes.
It's a multi-billion
of every game.
So it's a totally different day and age, but I don't know. Tinfoil hat stays off for this episode.
You got that whole segment about that last week, and honestly, like, some of it makes sense, man. Some of it really does when you put it to the billion-dollar industry that is gambling. Man, it's starting to make a little bit of sense. But as we know, like we talked about earlier, this was not very many people's desired Super Bowl. This was definitely off script because not a lot of people wanted this. You know,
it's all about that Kelsey and Taylor Swift, bruh.
It generated that. There's no argument against the fact that it generated a lot of
highest rated
traffic.
They've already come out and said it's the highest rated Super Bowl ever. It set the records, which we knew that was going to happen. If Kansas City goes to the Super Bowl, it sets records because
123 million, I think it was, watched.
And there's no way we'll be able to prove this, but I can tell you one record guaranteed why this record was broke, because more people tuned into this Super Bowl that don't watch football than any other Super Bowl in history. because
Yeah, totally new
Swift.
demographic. There could even be an argument that the Nickelodeon coverage of the game generated a lot of traffic as well.
Dude, that
I
shit was
meant to
fire.
check in on that. I don't think we ever did we? If
Yeah.
we did,
So,
I don't remember.
we
They
started on
got
it.
creative this year. I
It
like
was creative,
the
and
live action one.
the other thing I noticed in my area, at least up here in New England, is that the Nickelodeon stream was like 3 seconds ahead of the CBS stream. So
Oh, really?
It was off a little
the
bit.
first few snaps, we were seriously considering watching the Nickelodeon one for the entire.
Dude, it was so goofy.
Yeah, but
I saw Sandy on the sidelines. It was like, now down to you, Sandy. And she was like, I'm here to talk about L'Jarius Sneed. Of course, he's having himself
Yep.
quite the game, but he's also just had a kid at home, and he's out here playing a Super Bowl. I was like, what the hell is this?
I tell you,
Dora the Explorer doing the rules coverage.
And offsides is blah 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 blah.
I wonder how much of that that had the extra delay on CBS have to do with how many microphones are around the players that maybe the Nickelodeon stream didn't have. You know, like they have that extra buffering to where they can cut out when players say stuff they're not supposed to say. Like, how many times do you hear the F word or bastard?
I think they had the halftime show though on Nickelodeon. Like, what is that?
They did that?
From what I saw online, people were talking about that the halftime show wasn't cut out in the Nickelodeon podcast, which I watched it afterwards. I was like, "What? How does that work?"
That was on Nickelodeon.
That's a little sus.
I don't know. It's not like the year that Janet Jackson showed a boob.
I remember
Yeah.
I was a young child.
It also wasn't like the Shakira J-Lo show where they had literal strippers on the poles.
Yeah, that
Oh,
one was
wow.
pretty risque. But no, they had in fact, there's a meme about it in the Discord, probably posted by my wife, who likes to post the naughty things. And it said it had a tweet from Janet Jackson, and it was like, "It ain't a halftime show without no titty."
Yeah, they had freaking Larry the Lobster on the field, like in that home. It was just behind Patrick Mahomes, and SpongeBob was like, "Why didn't you give it to Larry? He would have ran farther than that."
Man, I need to go back and watch some clips of this. I'm sad I missed that.
Oh my gosh! Do you remember when they did the cartoon one? I was when it was a London game. They had a
Toy Story.
The
Yeah,
Toy Story game.
Disney, yeah, Toy Story.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That one was pretty cool. We watched a quarter or two maybe of that. We were kind of digging it, but
Yeah.
then it was like, okay, let's get back to the game.
Yeah.
It was really cool how they did it, though.
So speaking of the broadcasts, let's go around the horn and talk about everybody's favorite commercials. The commercial, I should say.
What was it?
I have a very distinct bias for one, but I'll go last.
Mine was the Kanye West commercial. That was funny. It was just like, I paid the money to get on the Super Bowl, but I didn't have any money left over for all the video stuff. So yeah, Vulture's album out, and
Yeezy.com, YEEZY.com. I got shoes and other stuff.
Yep, that's it.
Let me go.
Man, I don't have a whole lot of memory. I need to go back through.
Me
I
neither,
haven't.
man. That's why I'm looking.
Yeah, we're gonna do on the Thursday night podcast. We're probably gonna end up doing a Super Bowl commercial show like we did last year. So I haven't done my research for that podcast Thursday night yet. That's on my to-do list for tomorrow. So I don't know that I have a favorite yet because I don't know. Off the top of my head, I can't even remember a single one.
So mine, no surprise, was the Dun Kings commercial with Ben Affleck and J-Lo and Tom Brady, and those crazy tracksuits that
Yes,
Dunkin' Donuts was selling. They sold them at $120 a pop, and they sold out immediately. And they're already reselling on eBay for over $400.
Oh my God, that's
just
hilarious.
top to bottom. With Matt Damon in there, and he's like, "Hey, remember how I said I'd do anything for you?" And he says, "Yeah," and he goes, "Yeah, this counts as anything."
Yeah,
It was just top to bottom an excellent commercial, and now they have the mini spinoffs coming out of it. But yeah, I'm a little
Yeah,
biased
that was
as the
that one
resident
was
New
a
Englander
like
here.
a that was the Saturday Night Live skit, bro. That was so well done. I do remember that one now. You say that one. Lobster mentioned the Michael Cera one. Did
Michael
you remember?
Cera was a good one.
I
Yeah.
remember that one. That one
I
was
like
pretty
the
funny.
bet MGM where it was like everybody can do it except
Everybody
you,
except Tom. Yep,
You've
you've won
enough.
enough.
I thought that was funny.
And he was in the Duncan commercial
He was
too.
in the dunking one. Yep.
Yeah,
You can
that's
stay, Tom.
were those the only two he was in? I felt like he was everywhere.
Yeah.
Um,
He's single, ready to mingle. He's doing
think
his
those are
thing
the two
now.
he
He's
was
doing
in.
his thing. He's doing his thing. What? So, I did see Shaq was there at the Super Bowl. What other
Ice
celebrities
Spice was there.
Ice
it was
Spice?
Shaq, Ice Spice, Blake Lively, Taylor
Yeah,
Swift,
Blake
obviously.
Lively. Did you
Um,
see Deadpool? Or I mean, not Deadpool.
LeBron
Ryan
James
Reynolds
was
post?
there. Beyonce
Yeah.
and Jay Z were there.
Yeah, I saw his post for the trailer.
Post
Yeah, he
the
said, "Did you
Where's
see
the
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 trailer?
Bud Light
Have y'all
commercial
seen my
that went
wife?"
into that went right into live coverage of the Bud Light Genie with Post Malone and all them in the stands. That was pretty creative.
Yeah.
Toasty had his Cowboys jersey on.
Yep.
Yeah, he had a jacket, Cowboys jacket.
Closest we
He's-
got to
he's looking
Cowboys in the
thin.
Super Bowl. Yeah, he
Yeah.
lost a lot of weight.
Dude, he's dropping a country album soon. I'm calling it. That's
Oh
my
yeah, he's already said he's working on it.
yeah.
The and he said a long time ago that he was open to it, but he had commitments to the label and other
Yeah.
projects that he couldn't. That wasn't something that was on his plate at the time. But it's something he's
Well,
actively
he
working
went
on
he
already.
was he did covers of Brad Paisley a while back. He did like a full EP essentially.
Yeah.
it's really good. Like Post Malone he's one of my favorite artists. I think he's a generational voice.
He performed at the Country Music Awards.
Yeah, some
This
of his
week- this year.
style isn't like some of the lyrical choices not really my style, but no one can argue that he's just an absolutely gifted and talented artist. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
am so excited for his album and my Taylor Swift plug here. He has he's in a duet with Taylor Swift on the upcoming album Torture
It's
Poets Department.
It's
It
the
is
first
called
song on the album.
Fortnite.
Is it
Fortnite?
really?
It's a song called Fortnite. It's spelled the correct way, Nighght.
I was like,
Um,
no.
So the first,
No.
the first
He's an
song-
Apex guy anyway.
The first song on the record is Fortnite by Taylor Swift featuring Post Malone. Like
It's
you
meant
can't
to
make
be.
this shit up. We're in a
Definitely a
simulation,
marketing
bro. Like,
strategy.
you can't make this up.
Today is just
Oh, I'm
different.
so
Do you see
excited.
that shit that Shaq posted? Shaq's like 50 something, and he was
Ice
talking
Spice, you
about
fine.
Ice Spice, bruh. He was like, I met Ice Spice today. She fine as hell, whatever he said. I'm like, bro, Ice Spice is my age. He's like 50, bro. You got kids Ice Spice's age. That's wild. He's wild.
You gotta
Hey,
shoot
you're
your
gonna
shot.
shoot.
Paul Rudd's a big Chiefs fan, so he was there.
I will say though,
Oh, okay.
not the biggest Taylor Swift fan, but at least she understands football because she's over there on the sidelines, being like, hey, this and this how it works. And Ice Spice is like, oh, I didn't know that. Like, she had no idea what was going on.
Something that's funny to me about Taylor Swift is that her best friend is Blake Lively, who's married to arguably one of the most intelligent and charismatic men on the planet. And I can
Yep.
just imagine the double dates of
Oh my god, yeah.
of Taylor Swift and Blake Lively going out on the town with their respective boyfriends, who are Ryan Reynolds and Travis Kelce. And it's like Travis Kelce is just a big fucking oaf, and he has a room temperature IQ, but goddamn, can he catch a football? Compared to the class and the charisma and the banter that comes from Ryan Reynolds.
Did you watch his docu-series, Welcome to Wrexham?
No, I'm not a soccer guy.
Oh, I'm not either.
As much of
but
a Ryan
if
Reynolds
you like Ryan,
guy
if
as
you
I
like
am,
Ryan Reynolds,
I'm not
I'd
a
say
soccer guy.
I'd say watch it. It's less about soccer than you think. Let's just put it that way. And even if I'm not a soccer guy for the most part either. I actually follow Wrexham. I got them set up on my app and everything now too, just because of the documentary. But it's very little to do with soccer. I mean, it's a very, very well done show. And the reason behind them buying that soccer team, him and his partner, which is the originator of the idea. God, what's his name? from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I've totally blanked.
What is his name?
Rob McElhenney.
Eh.
Yeah, he is. They are hysterical. And if you're fans of those two guys, I couldn't recommend that show more. And I promise you, it's way less to do with soccer than you think.
Okay, I'll add it to the list.
Yeah, you won't regret it. What else?
So we got straight from the Super Bowl a little bit because right before the Super Bowl we had the NFL awards.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to say, I'm glad CJ won, but they could have. What do you guys think? Do you think Puka Nacua got snubbed?
No, it always favors a QB. But
Yeah,
if he
that
won,
is-
I wouldn't have been mad. But I think CJ deserved it more.
Yeah,
I think
it's not
QB
like
is
the
a
MVP
much
argument
harder
for me, which
position to
was
come
super cut and
in.
dry. But I think Puka was just an absolute freak this season. But
QB is such a difficult position to come in as a rookie and perform at
On
a
a team
high
with
level.
nothing.
On a team
you were the second pick in the draft. You're not on a good team.
Yeah, and Puka Nacua was, and even though he maintained a certain level of stats after what's his name came back,
Cooper
Cup came back on onto the roster off IR. Like, you know, there was obviously, you know, there was still a little bit of a drop off. And again, it's wide receiver. It's not quarterback. Like, barely do, you know, hardcore running backs ever even win Rookie of the Year award. It's another award that deservedly so typically goes to the quarterback.
It's the same argument for me that I held all pretty much the entire back half of the season for Lamar Jackson being the MVP, is that you can have a running back or a wide receiver who does, you know, who elevates the team, but at the end of the day it's the quarterback. If the quarterback isn't elevating the guys around them, then they have nothing. And as much as the argument that Christian McCaffrey could have been the MVP this year just because of how well he performed, the fact of the matter is Lamar Jackson put that team on his back time and time again, and all the way until that nuclear meltdown in the AFC Championship.
Yeah, and that doesn't count.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, the regular season is primarily what's considered and all that. Like, some of that playoff performance can maybe sway it one way or the other, but I think going into the playoffs, the 50 voters already have it in mind what who it is. You know, I don't know, when are their votes due? Like, is it already in by the time the season's over? Or is it after? Do they have until after
I'm
the
not
season's
sure.
over? Yeah,
It's gotta be
I think it's
regular
determined
season.
during the playoffs. It's
Huh?
obviously in regards to the regular season, but
In regard, yeah, right, you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, and I was making kind of that same point along with what you just said too. If you're at a position, running back, wide receiver, tight end, whatever, I don't think a tight end's ever won it, but if you're that guy, you have to break league records. There has to be something uber special for you to be the guy that wins the MVP over a guy that is the leader and the focal point of the team. Like,
I mean, Puka had a lot of rookie records this year.
Yeah, rookie records or franchise records, whatever, you know, but not league records. That's what I was saying about Christian McCaffrey. He wasn't breaking running back records this year. He was having an outstanding career season, but he wasn't breaking anybody's records this year. And he was going to have an extra week to do it in meaning a 17th game, and he still didn't do it, you know? So, yeah, Lamar Jackson deserves that. CJ Stroud deserves that.
I agree. No, I do agree because at the end of the day, CJ Stroud, he took that team from one of the worst in the league to a playoff run. And that, yeah, like I said, he elevated the players around him. He much like Lamar did. So as much as I love Puka Nacua, I love the story, I love the performance and the player. Um, I'm not angry that he didn't win defensive player, that he didn't win rookie of the year. I just think he was it was a very close race in my opinion.
Right on, right on. What's who won offensive player of the year?
It was CMC.
McCaffrey.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, because I didn't keep up with. I wish I'd have known we were gonna talk about this. I should have known, and I should have looked it all up. But I didn't even look at all the awards yet.
Myles Garrett, defensive player of the year.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of people that were upset that that wasn't Micah Parsons, but he even came out and said, "Bro, he was the guy."
Joe
Yes.
Flacco got that comeback player of the year that you wanted.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. I did hear
I
about
think it
that
should have
one.
been Baker.
I would have been okay with Baker as well.
Yeah, I would have too.
But, I mean,
think they
nobody
came back,
can argue against the absolutely mind blowing success, and he went from the couch to a playoff appearance with a team that had a stellar defense, but otherwise had nothing else really going for
He
him.
didn't really go from the couch. He never had his year. I mean, Flacco literally.
No, I'm
was
talking
at
about
his parents'
Flacco.
house.
No,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought
yeah.
you were talking about Baker. Okay, yeah.
No, Baker was just bouncing around teams.
Yeah. But either one of them, I mean, that's 1A and 1B in my book. I think either one of them would have been very deserving of the award. Unfortunately, only one of them can win it.
Yeah.
So if it
Had
had gone the other
Flacco
way, I wouldn't have
not
been mad.
done as well as he did on that run of like 5 or 6 weeks, I hands down, I would have been Baker.
Yeah, if those wins were
Oh.
minuscule wins, but no, he was
Even if-
dominating. It was crazy.
Even if he would have come in and won just enough to get him there, it still would have been Baker. But because he did that hot streak, I think,
Yeah.
that's what got it. But yeah,
Do we think
Baker
Flacco lands a spot next year,
Mhm.
or is he just backing up for Cleveland?
I don't know.
Well, we already talked about my opinion on that. I don't think he comes back anywhere as a backup. I don't think he will. I think he'll sit on the couch, keep his workout routine, and wait and see if somebody needs him. And if it's a right situation, he'll go play there. But I don't think he signs with anybody as a backup. I think he only signs if he's the guy, if he's going to be the guy. But then again, like I also said, the flip side of that is at the time we were having that conversation, I said he really hadn't been punched in the mouth and reminded what it is to struggle yet, because he was on that hot streak, and he got punched in the mouth when they played Houston. You know what I mean? Like that was a reminder of, hey, you're an old man. Are you sure you want to keep doing this?
Cleveland's defense got.
I mean, he threw a lot of touchdown passes in that game. They were just to the wrong player.
Yeah.
Actually, the first half of that game, he looked like a stud.
Yeah.
But the second half was not so good.
I could see him going to maybe like Panthers, where they have a young guy. Maybe they would use him to. I don't know.
So this is directed at Dabs and Janu. Like, who do you think is more likely to have a signed position next year? Flacco or Dobbs?
Dobbs.
Yeah, probably Dobbs.
I think the Pastronaut makes a comeback.
disgraceful.
I'm telling you.
He's just so much younger.
I'm telling you, the Pastronaut is gonna find a landing spot somewhere.
To be a backup.
Maybe.
He's not a starter in the league.
Maybe.
I think he's proven he's not.
He's shown that he's not, but he's also shown that he can. So with him, it's like taking a risk. If you really need him, you can take a risk.
All the
with
quarterbacks
Dobbs.
can.
The
They're
thing
in the
is
NFL.
that
That's why they're
I
here.
mean, I don't know about that, but
To an
as far as
extent.
Josh Dobbs played when he first came in, I think you saw his potential because of the way that he was playing, because he was fitting more of his play style. And what the Vikings did is they tried to fit him into a different play style, and it just didn't work. When he was able to hit the tight end a bunch and fit it how he wanted to, it was working. After that, he was just throwing picks. He was just something was off there. I'm not
He's a
saying that.
journeyman. He's Ryan Fitzpatrick the next.
I think
the next
if he gets
generation,
a opportunity like Baker had, and he actually gets to invest in the team, and they invest in him, potentially put something else around him that fits his style, like Janu was just saying, give him a stud tight end. I think he could have a little more success than he had this season. And let's face it, the Vikings were. He had a good start there, but the Vikings weren't really going anywhere. They were kind of in shambles despite all the the all-star
Yeah. I mean,
talent
they
they
just
had.
he'll still have a solid chance next year, given the QB heavy draft this year.
No.
Again, I don't know. I'm just playing hypotheticals here.
That's another reason why he's not going to be a starter.
there's so many injuries, so I'm not going to say that he won't. I mean, if there wasn't a bunch of injuries, probably not. But
Yeah,
I think they just
Well-
need to fit around his play style, and he'll succeed. He's a great running quarterback.
I definitely think somebody at least. I mean, I think Dobbs is going to get a backup spot. I really do.
He'll get a
I think
backup spot.
I think
He's not
Flacco might
scared.
consider a backup spot because I think this season specifically kind of emphasized the importance of the backup role. Where if your star quarterback goes down and you don't replace him with somebody good, i.e. Joe Flacco, nothing comes of it. You know,
So why wouldn't Carolina be
The
like an okay
Cowboys
situation?
did that last year with Rush.
right.
You gotta
It's really
you gotta
hard to
have a
tell
good
either
guy.
way.
I'm
It's hard
not
to tell.
saying that people aren't going to want Joe Flacco at the number 2. I'm just saying I don't think he'll do it. I think he knows he's good enough to start in the league. And if he doesn't start, he's going to save his legs and go to a contender when their quarterback goes down.
Yeah.
It's what I would do if I was 42 years old or whatever, 41. I'm 45 now, so
Now here's a real question.
Maybe my mentality is on the same wavelength, but
Aaron Rodgers again is trying to get Devontae Adams on the Jets. If Aaron Rodgers starts and he's got Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson,
He's
do
not
y'all
getting
think
Devontae
that?
Adams.
But do y'all think that it's gonna be like an actual playoff run with Aaron Rodgers there? We didn't get to see it last year because he got injured right off. But he's got Brees Hall, he's got Wilson, he's got lots of weapons. Some of the other people on the team have shown some potential, like Xavier, I think his name is Xavier Gibson or something like that.
let me say this about the Jets:
I think it needs a coaching change.
if they are serious about all in this season because they've got Aaron Rodgers, Brees Hall, and Wilson. They will make any possible moves and get anybody else
They'll try.
that they can too. If Aaron Rodgers if they're serious about Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers is pushing for Devontae Adams, they'll make an attempt. We might not ever hear about what the actual offers are, but they'll try. They'll pick up the phone, and the Raiders would be stupid not to answer.
Yeah. I don't think that the Jets make it if they win. If the Bills take the step back that I expect them to, they could compete. But at the end of the day, Miami's still pretty good in the regular season. Buffalo, I don't think they're gonna fall off massively, but I don't think they're gonna lock down the division again. And I don't think the Patriots can get any worse, but I don't know how much better they're gonna get. At the end of the day, I really think one of the main problems with the Jets is their coach. I know everybody loves the young minds and the ones that can relate to the players, and he's a good guy, he's a good coach. He's a good a player coach, but he's not a good football coach. He's not getting the job done. I don't think Salah's the guy, and while Salah is on the team, unless he basically does what Brady did that first year with the Bucs, and basically allow Aaron Rodgers to just ignore his play calls, like Brady did to Arians, I don't think they're going anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, not a bad theory.
I feel like if they theoretically, even without Devontae Adams, probably won't happen, but even with the team that they have now, just placing in a good quarterback, I think they have a shot at it. Maybe not a Super Bowl, but a decent playoff run. Just because they have such a good defense, dude. and they have a great running back and at least one solid wide receiver. And I mean, that's really all that you need. That's a lot more than I felt like a lot of teams had this year that made it into the playoffs. So,
And you got to think that their offense was good at times, even without the consistency that Aaron Rodgers would bring to that position. So
yeah, like the players are making plays. Yeah. Like there's so many times where I saw Wilson making plays off of like a 5-yard slant route or some shit, and I'm like, dude, just imagine if he could throw farther than 5 yards every time and actually do something with that. So I don't know. I see potential.
They've got potential next year, just like they had potential this year until
just like the Browns
until the fourth snap.
Until 4 snaps into the game.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see. I mean, taking a risk with an old quarterback. So.
But I still maintain that they're not gonna duplicate what Brady did in Tampa Bay, and they're not. I don't think that they're in danger of winning a Super Bowl, but I think they could maybe not so easily, but they could definitely compete for the division.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the division is up in the air. There's really no definitive winner.
Yeah,
the Bills are going
to
take
game of the season.
The Bills are going to take a step back this year. Josh Allen's not getting any younger. He's still a weapon. He's still a threat. But Stephon Diggs isn't going to be on the Bills next year.
He might be.
Gabe Davis might not be on the Bills next year. Their defense is they're going to lose a bunch of guys, whether it's to free agency or retirement. Their coaching is middling at best. The Bills are going to take a step back. It depends on what the Dolphins do. The Dolphins, if they can maintain what they did this year and then not shit down their own legs in the playoffs, they have a good chance at it too. But I don't know.
Free agency.
We talked about how
I don't know who all is a free agent on all these different teams. I mean, there's going to be a lot of changes between now and the beginning of the next season. Our episode 0 of season 2 is going to be a completely different show with a lot of different opinions about these teams that we're talking about now. Right now, it's all speculation that's based on a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, I'm sure we all didn't think the Bengals were not going to make the playoffs at the beginning of the season, you know? Like, that was just over.
Really need a recap show. Dabs, you might have to sit this one out. We'll do a show where we watch back our pilot and see.
Yeah, dude, I don't watch.
We were super high on the Jets too. Like we all thought highly of the Jets.
We were high on the Jets. We were high on the Chargers.
I don't want to talk about the Chargers. Yikes.
I was very high on the Chargers.
Wrong there.
I didn't plan on being right about the Jets this way, but I told you guys that they weren't going to do the Brady thing.
All to be fair, injury off the rip's not a good start.
No.
Hey,
like I said, I didn't mean to be right this way. I didn't curse them.
Chargers next year. Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah,
that's a interesting.
Jim Harbaugh with Justin Herbert. Do some good things there.
What's the deal with Vrabel?
What?
What's the deal with Belichick?
I understand the argument against Belichick at this point, but like, what is the deal with Vrabel? He was the A-list candidate for a while.
Yeah, I don't know why the Titans let him go. I do know why the Titans let him go. It's because he didn't. The GM didn't get along, so the owner chose the GM over him.
Yeah, well, that's a tough. That speaks to its failure right there, right? The GM doesn't like you. You don't get the players that you want. You don't get the personnel you want. You know, like you're not. That's not. Your GM and your owner have to be in sync. You know, that's the one thing. Say what you want about Jerry Jones, but that's the one problem you'll never have in Dallas because the owner is the GM. Like they're going to get the people that they want, the personnel that they want. And that maybe you can argue that's the problem with the Cowboys over the last 28 years. But at least, you know, we don't have a lame duck coach lame duck GM, you know, or whatever.
Yeah, the Titans are in rebuild mode. I feel new head coach. They'll build around Will Levis. Derrick Henry's going to be gone, so they already traded Kevin Byard. So
I don't know. Is Henry coming to Dallas?
I think so.
Was that you're still sticking with that one, huh?
I
it's
do.
like a dream.
I do
They have
think so.
L'Jarius Sneed and Henry. Oh my God, I need both jerseys right now.
I think it would be between. I think it would be
Thanks.
between Baltimore and Dallas, but I think Dallas just has that little bit more. I mean,
Well, what did Cook get in Baltimore? Did he get? Is he there for more than like? Is he back on the street again, or is he with Baltimore for next year? Because if they picked up Cook, like for obviously the playoffs, and they were hoping the Super Bowl, and they locked him into next year too, then they don't have any need for Henry.
yeah.
'Cause they
I
got-
think it's Dallas. So.
I
Maybe
thought we were going
Miami,
to
but
Baltimore
I don't
this
think
year.
they got speed and they got depth. I don't think
Yeah.
they're going to go with Henry.
Yeah, I don't understand why he wasn't traded. Why would you let a guy like that walk? Why wouldn't you get something out of him?
Well,
Even
they
if it was
tried.
nothing.
They tried trading him, but the problem was they had said they wanted to trade him to
A competitor.
a competitor, like competing for a title, and nothing, ended up coming through with that.
I mean,
'Cause
why would you sign
He was
Cook?
working with the front office to try to find
Yeah.
someplace.
It was very amicable.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I just don't understand. I don't understand how. I mean, using Baltimore as the perfect example, how the hell did Baltimore not jump in there and scoop him up? I mean, they signed Cooks, who wasn't doing anything for the Jets
Right.
to make. I mean, he was having the lowest yards per carry of his career for the Jets. So there can't be anything that was like attractive about picking him up. Like, and just throw. How do you not just throw the Titans a bone?
Yeah.
And
I don't
pick 'em
know.
up?
I do know. I did see an article that who knows the tight ends in the draft? You guys know Brock Bowers.
Oh, yeah.
He wants
Going
to
out
play
Georgia.
for the Titans. He's all about he wants to play for Tennessee. So that's exciting. They could get him because I think they have like the 8th or 9th pick.
He's projecting in the top 5, though, is the problem.
Yeah, that's what was.
I want to see
What
some
can you
teams
do,
make
huh?
some moves.
Let's not talk about the draft. We have a
Yeah,
whole
that's
special for that.
That's a 2-hour special.
Are we gonna do a live draft show?
We should.
I don't know about
At least for the first round, maybe second. But
First
that would
round
be
for
fun.
sure. First
we'll have
round
to
for sure.
theory craft this one because I kind of want to be able to break it all down.
Just
But-
sit here and just smoke a Benjamin and just watch it and goof around for a few hours and then talk about it.
Yeah, we
I
don't.
mean,
have
that's
to,
gonna be like
yeah.
a 4-hour show if we do that.
Yep.
You know, if we're gonna be watching it anyway.
Request
Maybe
turned off now.
I'm interested. What does the chat think? I think they should contribute in the Discord a little bit and speak their mind, give their opinion,
Oh, yeah.
and we'll give the people what they want.
Maybe we can make a poll in the sports chat. See what. Everyone's
Can
feeling.
you fit more than like just the 4 people in here? Because that would be cool if we could have like some guests on talking too.
Yeah, we could totally do that. We could we can absolutely like invite, people for 5 or 10 minutes along with us, as long as they're people we know and trust. We could totally do that.
Or maybe that's when we finally introduce the call-ins.
Oh, God.
The problem with the call-in part is technology. I don't know if I know how we would pipe in a caller.
Could
since
you
I don't
just
have-
use Skype?
since I don't
Discord.
have-
Discord call, Skype?
Uh,
Discord probably easiest, yeah.
Discord, yeah.
oh, you know what? I think I could get it. Oh no.
Well, we can just talk about it
We'll
another
figure it
time.
out.
but
Yeah,
it's a good idea.
Yeah,
Figured it
figured out. I feel like there was something. Oh, we did finish up with the playoff pick'ems, by the way. I don't know if you guys saw that little update. Dabs had a very firm lead on the pick'ems.
And I had Kansas City. Asked Wakko, I had him,
Yep,
and I
He
switched
did.
it.
He did. He was very worried that I had his pick locked in too. He called me like frantically. I need to change it. Changed it to
I
Kansas
thought
City.
more here than
Or I mean,
here.
San Francisco.
I really wanted Purdy.
I changed it to San Francisco.
Yeah.
I
me
wanted
too,
them
buddy.
to win
Me
too, kind of, but I just knew like it just wasn't going to happen. Even when they were up, I was like, it's not going to happen. Mahomes is going to win. That's just how it is.
Even when Wakko was like, "Why are you changing?" I was like, even though the Chiefs will probably win if it's scripted, but I want the 49ers to win. So
I really just like Purdy, like all those like Sigma male edits of being like, "You're the only one that can stop him now."
Yeah,
When he
those are
shows him like
awesome.
that shit was fire, bruh. I like him more just because of all that.
Well, we got to say congratulations to Psycho Nana. She ultimately ended up taking it with the proper guess of Kansas City, which put her over the top and just barely over tabs there. Just, I think, let's see. We did pretty good, like as fairly like right in the middle. None of us were the lowest scores. You know, we got a nice little score there.
Brian was closer. Brian at 140.
Yeah, he was pretty close too.
Lobster 135. So I was
Yep.
fourth. No,
Seven,
I was fifth.
who was he was on that Buffalo tilt. He won. I think he was the big winner, like of multiple. I think he had the most weekly wins in the season for pick'ems, but when it came to playoffs, that was very tough for him. 85. But he did get six of them right. It was just not late in the game.
Yeah.
I almost picked the winning score. I was off by one. Digital
Yeah,
was off by one.
it was it was 47. And I bet the over 47.5.
Oh no!
I also bet San Francisco winning outright, and that didn't happen. I did not have a great betting Super Bowl. I had San Francisco winning. I had the over 47.5, and I had a Travis Kelce and Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdown parlay, and only half of it hit. So
I did
great.
Better for the Super Bowl than I did in any other round of the playoffs, but it still wasn't anything to brag about. But I won more than I lost in this round finally. I'll take that as a dub any day.
I think it would be really cool. I don't know if we should do this like now soon or like later before the season starts, but it would be cool if we could all do our own best balls. Like we could do them together on Underdog or separate, whatever, and just keep track of it because the best balls, they go on for the entire season.
Yeah, one draft, that's it.
We can just update every week along with our, bets or whatever. Be like, how's your best ball doing? Did you predict so-and-so was going to do that? Be like, it's going shit, it's terrible or, really good. Because when you do that in Underdog, you get money each week. Like it counts for every single week and you keep going against them. So it'd be kind of fun to do that too. Every week.
Sounds good to me.
See.
Discussion backstage.
Good for drafts too. You get to see all the new people and the draft picks, get a little warm up for the fantasy. So,
right on. Well,
all right.
Have we exhausted our Super Bowl? Well, then if we're done for the show, then we need some season finale extra points here, gentlemen. What you got?
pretty much already said a lot of mine.
No Cowboys. Where next year is our year.
No, I'm never going to be that guy. I just can't add to the flame, But I'm always going to be a little bit higher on them because they're my team. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like a curse at this point. So until I see it with my eyes, then I'm not going to say it out of my mouth,
Probably best.
But
probably best.
If you're in the fantasy league, you should start start paying attention to those rookies because you got to, start with the combine. I don't really get too much into the combine, but
No, okay, the combine.
you start looking at
I look at
highlights and where they're at and stats and stuff,
I look at
situations they
where
get drafted into.
I look at teams and how they adjust their draft picks, whether they trade up, trade down, and then you look at what that team needs, and it can be kind of an indicator of what they're going to take based on where certain draft prospects are projecting on the mocks. But I'm looking forward to being back here in April and having a great sit down special about the draft. This is going to be a really good draft this year.
Mm-hmm.
Lot of high end talent, arguably some generational talent. It's gonna be really interesting to see. Although the season's over, I think football is an all year round type deal. We have spring football to look forward to with the new new spring league, so that's gonna be fun to watch.
I'll be watching that.
We're gonna try to go to a game because we got the Arlington Renegades right here.
Very nice.
Yeah, we're gonna
we'll
get some pictures for that.
Although the regular season's over, I know the Super Bowl is past. Football is with us all year round. So this first season of the show has been great. I want to thank everybody who's tuned in every week to take part and support us. I look forward to seeing you guys back again in April for the draft special.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a lot of fun for sure. This was a show that did, as you alluded to earlier, it kind of came together at the last minute.
The literal last second.
Yeah, and we were we were winging it for a little bit, and we're probably still winging it. You know what I mean? But we've had a lot of fun for sure, and we're not done. This is the end of season 1. We've got some specials that we're planning. We're brewing up. Obviously, like Ray said, football is a year-round sport, but there are other sports that we're interested in and we want to talk about. So we might have some. Stay tuned. We might have some off-season shows headed your way very soon. What else, Dabs? You got anything for us?
No. Stay safe out there.
Stay safe out there. All right, Will Snipe, Selly boys. That's a wrap.
Yes, sir.
You got to wave, Dabs.
I am.